You are unknowingly one of the most attractive men around, and it has nothing to do with looks, charm, or effort. It's the quiet order in you, the absence of urgency, the way nothing inside you scrambles for approval. People feel that before they understand it, especially women. While other men perform, explain, and chase clarity, you remain steady. And that contrast is something to perception. It shifts the frame. It creates curiosity where certainty used to be. Power rarely announces itself. It settles into the room and waits. If this resonates, take a moment to support the message. Like the video, consider subscribing and leave a comment. It helps this signal reach men who are searching for clarity instead of noise. Because what you're about to understand isn't about attraction as a tactic, it's about composure as gravity. And once you see the psychological principle behind it, you won't be able to unsee it. Stay with me. You move through the world without announcing yourself, not because you are hiding or withholding, but because nothing inside you is asking to be noticed. Your attention remains anchored inward, your movements are unhurried, your emotional state regulated and contained. And that internal stillness creates a subtle pressure that most people cannot consciously identify but instinctively respond to. You do not scan rooms for reactions or adjust your behavior in real time. You are not calibrating yourself to be received. And this lack of self-monitoring allows your presence to remain intact, unfractured, and oddly grounding to those around you, as if you are operating from a center that does not depend on external feedback to remain stable. When you speak, there is no urgency in your words, no need to convince, entertain, or defend. And when you fall silent, there is no discomfort pushing you to fill the space, which causes others to lean in psychologically, not because you demand attention, but because silence that carries no anxiety feels rare and valuable. Women register this first at the instinctual level, long before attraction forms into a conscious thought, as a sensation rather than a conclusion. A quiet recognition that you are not emotionally available for chaos, not easily influenced by praise or rejection, not destabilized by uncertainty, and that emotional self-containment signals safety and authority simultaneously. While other men reveal themselves too quickly, their desires, insecurities, intentions spilling out in an attempt to control perception, you remain internally ordered, allowing time to do the work that explanation usually fails at. And in that restraint, perception begins to reorganize itself around you. Your body language stays relaxed under observation, your posture unchanged by attention, your reactions slow enough to suggest choice rather than reflex. And this measured pacing creates the impression that you are living on a longer timeline, one where outcomes are not chased but allowed to unfold. Most men believe attraction is created through effort, through saying the right things, projecting confidence, or performing competence. But what they miss is the moment when attraction quietly flips, when it stops being generated and starts emerging as a byproduct of internal order, a consequence of nothing inside you scrambling for control. You rarely notice when this shift occurs, the slight change in tone when someone speaks to you, the lingering attention, the curiosity that appears without invitation, because you are not tracking reactions or collecting evidence of your effect, and that unawareness preserves the naturalness that makes the effect stronger. Silence becomes one of your most misunderstood traits, not empty silence, but a grounded absence of noise, and in that space others project meaning, intention, and depth, often assuming confidence, competence, or strength, not because you claim them, but because the mind fills gaps with its own expectations. You do not correct every assumption. You do not rush to clarify or control interpretation, and that willingness to be temporarily misunderstood communicates an internal authority. Most men never develop the confidence to let perception mature rather than forcing it into shape. Under pressure, you remain consistent, not emotionally flat, but emotionally intact, your tone steady, your decisions unreactive, your behavior aligned with your internal state rather than external stressors. And this consistency becomes the quiet proof of strength that no performance can replace. You do not over-optimize your image. Your appearance feels functional rather than curated. your style settled rather than trendy. And this lack of aesthetic desperation communicates authenticity, a signal that your identity is not assembled for display, but lived privately first. Your responses arrive slowly enough to feel deliberate, pauses that suggest consideration rather than hesitation, movements that appear economical rather than restless. And this calm pacing tells the nervous systems around you that nothing urgent is happening, that there is no threat to manage, no reaction required. You are comfortable allowing others to sit with uncertainty, to wonder what you think, how you feel, where you stand, because you trust time more than explanation. And this trust creates intrigue without manipulation, gravity without effort. And the most important truth remains hidden even from you, that attraction is not your focus at all. Your sense of worth is not tethered to desirability. Your behavior does not shift in response to attention. And because nothing in you is trying to extract value from others, your presence remains stable, rare, and compelling. This is the paradox most men never understand, that the moment you stop organizing yourself around attraction is the moment attraction begins organizing itself around you, not as a reward, not as a strategy, but as a natural response to inner order made visible through behavior. Stay with this, because the next layer reveals why emotional self-containment quietly outperforms charm, confidence, and performance combined, and how this single psychological principle reshapes not only how women perceive you, but how you experience yourself moving through the world. You begin to notice something subtle once this internal order stabilizes, not a dramatic shift, not an obvious reaction, but a quiet change in how people orient themselves around you, as if their nervous systems are adjusting to a different center of gravity that does not demand attention yet somehow holds it. Women, in particular, respond to this without conscious intent, not because they are impressed, but because their perception recalibrates when effort disappears. The absence of pursuit creates space, and space activates curiosity more reliably than display ever could. Curiosity does not arise from what is shown, it arises from what is withheld without tension. And because you are not managing impressions, your restraint does not feel strategic, it feels natural, which is precisely what makes it powerful. Most men misunderstand this phase. They believe mystery is something fabricated, a silence performed. But what you embody is different, because your quiet is not an act. It is the byproduct of internal fullness, a state where nothing needs to be proven or extracted from the moment. As a result, conversations bend toward you without effort, not because you dominate them, but because others instinctively seek alignment with what feels grounded. Your presence becomes a reference point, a baseline, against which emotional volatility feels unnecessary and excessive. Women feel this contrast sharply, not as desire in its early form, but as a sense of orientation, the feeling that you are emotionally unavailable to chaos, drama, or impulsive swings. And this signals something ancient and instinctive: stability under uncertainty. When unpredictability enters the environment, social tension, disagreement, emotional ambiguity, your behavior does not fragment. Your tone remains even, your posture unchanged, your reactions measured. And this consistency becomes a silent demonstration of strength, far more persuasive than dominance or assertion. This is where perception begins to shift more deeply, because emotional steadiness under pressure tells a story words never could, suggests that your inner world is governed, that you are not ruled by impulse, that whatever storms exist inside, you have already been faced and ordered. Most men try to communicate value through addition, louder confidence, sharper wit, stronger opinions. But what quietly elevates you is subtraction, the removal of excess emotional movement, the absence of unnecessary reaction, the refusal to let external stimuli dictate your internal state. Women sense this as containment, not suppression, but mastery, and mastery signals safety, not comfort, but reliability, the sense that you can be present without collapsing or consuming the space around you. You are not overly expressive, yet you are not closed. You simply allow emotions to pass through you without announcing them, and that restraint creates depth, Because depth is felt when reactions are delayed long enough to be chosen rather than released. There is another shift that happens here, often unnoticed. People begin to project onto you, not because you invite it, but because your silence gives them room to fill. Assumptions form, interpretations deepen, meanings attach themselves without your interference. Some assume confidence, others assume competence, some read authority, others depth. And because you do not rush to correct them, those assumptions are allowed to mature, solidify, and often skew in your favor. This is not manipulation, it is psychological gravity, the natural consequence of not collapsing ambiguity prematurely. When meaning is not forced, it becomes stronger. Many men destroy this phase without realizing it. They over-clarify, overshare, over-position themselves, driven by the need to be understood immediately. But the need to be understood quickly often signals insecurity, while the willingness to be misunderstood temporarily signals internal authority. You allow time to do the work, explanation tries to rush, and time rewards composure, because consistency across moments builds trust faster than any single display. As this pattern continues, attraction no longer feels like something external responding to you. It begins to feel like something orbiting you, not because you pull, but because nothing pushes it away. You do not adjust your behavior when attention increases. You do not lean forward emotionally. You do not speed up. And that lack of behavioral distortion preserves the very quality that drew attention in the first place. This is the trap most men fall into. The moment attraction appears, they begin managing it, and management introduces tension. Tension collapses mystery. Mystery collapses attraction. You avoid this not through discipline, but through orientation. Attraction is not your axis. Your life is structured around purpose, rhythm, and internal order. And because attention is not central, it cannot destabilize you. Women feel this immediately, not as rejection, but as respect, the recognition that your presence is not contingent on their response, and that autonomy reorders desire more powerfully than availability ever could. At this stage, attraction stops being emotional and starts becoming psychological. Curiosity deepens, perception slows, interpretation intensifies, and the mind begins asking questions the body cannot answer alone. Stay with this, because the final layer reveals why the men who never chase attention end up controlling the emotional frame without ever touching it, and how this quiet dominance reshapes not just attraction, but identity itself. At the deepest level, what is happening has nothing to do with women specifically. It is about how power naturally forms around men who are internally governed. Because when your inner world is ordered, the external world begins responding without instruction, persuasion, or force. You are not attempting to lead perception. You are allowing perception to organize itself around consistency. And consistency is the one signal the human mind cannot ignore for long, especially when it appears without performance. Women do not experience this as manipulation or mystery. They experience it as orientation. The sense that you are not drifting emotionally, not reacting to stimuli, not negotiating your value in real time. And that orientation quietly establishes you as a fixed point in an otherwise unstable landscape. This is where the power becomes invisible, because nothing about it looks like power. There is no assertion, no dominance display, no claim, only the calm implication that you are already anchored, already whole, already operating from a place that does not require agreement to remain intact. Most men never arrive here, because arriving here requires letting go of the need to be chosen. And the moment that need dissolves, attraction stops being something you pursue and becomes something that reveals itself naturally in response to your presence. You are not cold, you are contained. And that distinction matters, because containment suggests capacity. The ability to hold emotion without leaking it, to feel without broadcasting, to care without clinging. And that balance is what transforms attention into respect. Respect is the precursor most men skip. They chase desire without realizing desire cannot stabilize without it. And respect only forms when a man demonstrates, over time, that his behavior does not bend under emotional pressure. You do not rush intimacy, not emotionally, not psychologically, and because of that, when connection forms, it forms on solid ground, not urgency, not fear of loss, not scarcity, but presence. This is why your silence carries weight, not because it hides intention, but because it reflects self-trust, the trust that you do not need to explain yourself into existence, that being is enough to be felt. And here is the final truth most men resist. Attraction is not the reward for effort. It is the echo of inner order made visible. And once you understand this, you stop trying to become attractive and start protecting the internal conditions that allow attraction to occur without interference. You no longer ask how to be perceived. You ask how to remain aligned, because alignment outlasts attention, and attention, when it comes, no longer disturbs you. This is the shift, from seeking response to becoming reference, from chasing reaction to setting emotional tone, from needing confirmation to allowing recognition. And when you reach this point, something irreversible happens. You cannot unsee how often men sabotage themselves by trying too hard, explaining too much, reacting too quickly, and how little is required when composure leads and desire follows. Stay with this understanding, not as a technique, not as a performance, but as a way of being, because once inner order becomes your foundation, the world responds differently, quietly, steadily, and without needing to be convinced.